Hi everyone and welcome to a new video. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Malin and today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different for me. I'm going to be cooking and of course eating Mexican food all day long, vegan style of course. And what inspired this video is my friend over on Instagram, Edgar, and his book Provecho. It's a beautiful book with all vegan Mexican recipes and I got it for Christmas. It was on the top of my Christmas wish list to get it and to learn to cook more authentic Mexican food. And I'm happy to share it with you today and share some recipes from it. And of course I have Edgar's permission to do so. And I've even got the permission to share one recipe written out. So I'll let you know which one that is and then you will be able to find it on my website. I'll link everything down below as usual. I'll link the book and I'll link Edgar's socials as well if you want to check them out. And for breakfast I'm going to be making papas locas. It's crazy potatoes if I'm not mistaken, and it looks really good. It has a lot of whole food veggie ingredients, poblano peppers, tomatoes, white potatoes, sweet potatoes, and spices of course. It sounds really good and I think we should just dive right in and make it. Like with most recipes, this one starts with a lot of chopping, and for this recipe I'm using a white onion, which is not something I use that often in my cooking actually, but I saw it appear quite a few times in Edgar's book and they're actually very yummy. So if you're gonna try this, try it with a white onion. I'm also chopping up some tomatoes, some poblano peppers, some jalapeno peppers, as well as some white potatoes and sweet potatoes, like I said earlier. Once all the chopping is done, this is actually a very convenient meal. You cook it in one pan and I'm using avocado oil to cook everything in. I'm also spicing this with some cumin seeds and chili flakes, and then I go in with the onions and I saute that for a few minutes. For more aromatic flavor, also garlic goes into this and I like to just press it with a garlic press. I find it easiest. Finally, once the garlic sauteed for a minute or so, I'm adding in the sweet potatoes and the potatoes, and then you just cook these in the pan until they start to soften a bit. And maybe you should have a bigger pan than I did if you want to make this, but it worked with my size pan as well. And once they've softened a bit, you add in the other veggies and you cook it until everything's nicely cooked through. You'll also want to season everything with some salt and black pepper. Edgar uses fine sea salt for most of his recipes, but I just used regular table salt and cracked some black pepper over everything. Then you'll want to cover everything with a lid to cook it for that last bit, and then it's done. To serve, I added some sliced avocado as well as topped it all off with some fresh coriander, just for some more textures and flavors. So this smells absolutely fantastic, but mine definitely turned out more stewy than Edgar's looks in the picture. But it was the first time for me making it, so I'll give myself some leeway on that. And let's try it. It's actually as yummy as it smells. And I decided to serve mine with some avocado because today I think I'm gonna take every chance I get to eat avocado. Edgar suggests that you could serve this with rice, beans, tortillas, and he has recipes for all of that in his book, of course, and I'm gonna show you a little bit later as well. But yeah, definitely a yummy dish. He also said that you can meal prep this and warm it up for breakfast or lunch, and I could really see that as a great sort of staple to keep in your fridge. Also perfect for brunch, actually. It takes a little bit of time to make, and it took me a little bit longer than it says in the recipe, but maybe, I don't know what I did. It turned out more stewy, like I said, so maybe I did something a little bit wrong somewhere along the way. Either way, I'm going to enjoy this thoroughly, and I really wish that you could smell this room right now because it smells absolutely divine, and I shall see you for lunch. I returned to the kitchen to make some lunch, and I'm going to make a recipe that I've made before that I really liked, and it's some mushroom tacos. And in the recipe it says to use chanterelles, but it's not chanterelle season here in Sweden. It will only be chanterelle season in autumn. So I've got some oyster mushrooms and some portobello mushrooms, and if I'm not mistaken, I used the same combination of mushrooms the last time I made them, and that came out really well. But if you do have chanterelles and you want to try this recipe, then of course go ahead and use chanterelles. And this is the recipe that I will write out on my website for you to see and try if you want to. So I'll link that down below, like I said before. But before we start cooking, I want to thank Squarespace for sponsoring this video and tell you a little bit more about them. Squarespace is an all-in-one website builder with lots of great tools to make it easy to build a beautiful and well-functioning site without any previous knowledge about coding or website building. Personally, I've used Squarespace to create my online food photography portfolio, and I really like that it is so easy and intuitive to use. There are plenty of themes, font combinations, and color combos on Squarespace to get you started, and there are themes for many different purposes, so it's great for everyone from business owners and e-commerce all the way to creatives and bloggers. So if you're thinking about creating a website for any purpose, check out squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch your site, go to squarespace.com/goodeatings for 10% off your first website or domain. Now, to make this dish, there are a few components that need to come together. It's the mushrooms, of course, and then I've actually bought store-bought corn tortillas that I will serve the toppings on, I guess. And then there's also a crema that I will make with coriander, as well as a sort of salsa that I think is called ají. I'm not certain, but everything's very finely chopped. But it will all become clear. Let's start with the mushrooms. When it comes to preparing the mushrooms, I'm doing it in two different ways with the two different mushrooms. And with the portobello mushrooms, I just slice them up. Then with the oyster mushrooms, I just grab them and I rip them into smaller pieces. You'll want to transfer all your mushrooms to a large mixing bowl and then add some very finely chopped white onion as well as some lime juice. Again, some avocado oil goes into this recipe, and then I'm adding spices according to Edgar's recipe. There's dried oregano, cumin, and garlic powder. I'm also going to add some coconut sugar. I guess this is to round out all the flavors. And then I'm also adding in some chili flakes instead of cayenne pepper, which Edgar says in his recipe. I'm also seasoning it with salt and then tossing everything to coat. Then you'll want to transfer everything to a lined baking tray and bake it in the oven for about 20 minutes or until you reach your preferred texture, either a little bit more soft or dry. Okay, so now that the mushrooms are in the oven, we have some time to make the other toppings or fillings, whatever you want to call them. And in the book, Edgar says that you could make an array of different salsas. You can take your pick. That goes for the crema as well. I have chosen the cilantro crema or coriander crema because I haven't tried it before, and it sounds good to me, and it has a really lovely vibrant green color. And then for the salsa, I chose this very finely chopped, basic, simple ingredient salsa because I made it the last time I made these tacos and it was super yummy. So they both pretty easy to make and very yummy. So let's make them. The ingredients going into the salsa are some tomatoes, some onions, some jalapeno pepper, and some fresh coriander. And I just chopped that up finely and transfer it into a mixing bowl. There's also a pressed garlic clove going in for more flavor, and lots of lime juice. Finally, everything gets a good seasoning with salt, and then I just toss it all to mix it well together and set it aside. Then to make the cilantro crema, the base is made with some soaked cashews that are of course softened and ready to blend, and some fresh coriander. There's also some more lime juice going in, as well as some apple cider vinegar for acid. Again, there's some garlic powder, as well as some water to thin everything out, and of course a little bit of salt. For things like this, it's always best to use a high-speed blender as it will blend everything super smooth, and that's exactly what I did here. Then to assemble, I use some store-bought corn tortillas that I just heated up in a dry pan and topped off with all the yummy toppings. It smells really very good in here, and it's time to taste it, so cheers! I remember these tacos as being absolutely scrumptious, and they still are. I really like the coriander crema, because this brings like a freshness and a herbiness to the combo. But what I really like about the food in this book altogether is that there's like a mixture of super fresh and sort of savory and hearty dishes and flavors in there that combined become so just satisfying. This you have to make. It's so delicious. I can't even tell you while I'm trying to. And I keep saying it's delicious, so maybe you get it, but it really is. So try it. I look forward to eating it now for my lunch, and I will see you back here for maybe a snack or for dinner. To make some dinner, and I'm pulling out all the stops kind of. I'm going to be making two things. The first one is like the most delicious rice I've ever tasted personally. It's a coriander rice. It goes green and it tastes amazing. And I'm also going to be making Coliflor asada, and I think that translates basically straight to roasted cauliflower. But the sauce for this sounds delicious, so that's what we'll be doing first. And rub it all over the cauliflower. And I've actually already prepped it a little bit like a proper TV chef because you need to parboil the cauliflower before you put it in the oven so that it goes soft enough in the oven. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So let's get going. The sauce for the cauliflower starts with some almond butter, and this adds a really nice nutty flavor to the outside. There's also some avocado oil and some Dijon mustard. Next, I added some more lime juice. You definitely need a lot of limes if you want to cook Mexican food. And then lots of spices. Here's cumin, smoked paprika, and garlic powder. Of course, we season with some salt and then mix everything to combine to a nice smooth paste. Once the paste is spread all around the cauliflower, it's time to pop it in the oven for about 20 minutes or until it's nicely golden on the outside. And then to cook the rice, I'm using my high-speed blender again, and I'm adding some onion in there as well as garlic because I'm gonna blend a lot of ingredients up with water for the cooking liquid for the rice. Here I'm also adding in some fresh coriander, which will give it a nice subtle green color. And I'm also using a bouillon cube because I didn't have stock in liquid form. So I'm adding a stock cube and some salt along with the water. This really makes the most delicious rice with lots of flavor and herbaceousness, if you will. But first you'll want to fry your rice in some avocado oil, and of course also rinse it to make sure it's rid of all the starches on the outside. And frying rice is something I've never done before in a recipe, but it does help with the texture when you cook it. Now that the coriander is on back there as well as the cauliflower, it's all cooking away. I just wanted to show you that along with this, I'm gonna serve some of these frijoles rojos, red beans, and Rob actually prepped these. And many recipes in this book are really good for meal prep actually. There's lots of different bean recipes, rice recipes. You could even do those mushrooms that we had in the tacos ahead of time, all the salsas, cremas. It's actually fabulous, even the breakfast dish we did. So there's lots of reasons to love this book and cooking Mexican food. But yeah, I'm just gonna heat these up, let that cook, and then I'll plate it up. To serve the roasted cauliflower, I'm using some of the leftover cilantro crema, and I'm also topping it with some fresh coriander. Okay, so I am very excited to eat this. It looks delicious. I already know that rice is yummy, but let's give this cauliflower a little taste test. That is really yummy and very flavorful on the outside, but quite mellow on the inside, and it cooked really well when you parboiled it before roasting it. So I'll definitely be doing that in the future. And the rice is magic. I already know this, but let's try it anyway. Still delicious. I understand now why people from other cultures where you eat a lot of rice say that Europeans don't know how to cook their rice, because honestly, I've only ever grown up cooking rice in water. not even with salt, and this is a billion times better. I'm so glad I learned this recipe, so thank you, Edgar. Thank you, Edgar, for all of this yummy food. Definitely check out his book. And again, thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. I hope you've enjoyed seeing me cook up and eat some vegan Mexican food. I've definitely enjoyed it, both the cooking and the eating. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you all very much for watching. Take care. Bye.